The House will be in order. The chair lays before the House a communication from the Speaker.
The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., July 23, 2026. I hereby appoint the Honorable Mike Voss to act as Speaker pro tempore on this day. Signed, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
The prayer will be offered by Chaplain Kibben.
Would you pray with me? Ever-present God, there is no place we can go from your Spirit. There is no place we find ourselves where your presence is not with us. Abide with us as the week ends and as we take our leave from this place. May the work of these last several months receive your blessing. And may the decisions in the days and weeks ahead of us remain in your keeping. We pray your wisdom in our efforts to pursue the responsibilities you have laid upon us. And we ask for your care and protection in times of rest and rejuvenation. Lord, go before us and prepare the way so that we will be ready to respond to your guidance wherever you lead us. Lord, be with us. Encourage and embolden us that we will be capable of meeting whatever chores or challenges we encounter. Never leave or forsake us, that we will always know that we are where you want us to be, as we seek to serve both you and this country faithfully. In the sure and certain power of your name we pray. Amen.
The chair has examined the journal of the last day's proceedings and announces to the House the approval thereof. Pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 1, the journal stands approved. The pledge of allegiance will be led by the gentlewoman from Arizona, Ms. Grijalva.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain up to 5 requests for 1-minute speeches on each side of the aisle. For what purpose, gentlemen from Michigan seek recognition?
I wish to speak for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Nigeria is the deadliest place on earth to be a Christian today. Since 2019, tens of thousands of Christians in Nigeria have been slaughtered as part of a sustained pattern of religiously motivated violence by Islamist jihadis ignored or enabled by the Nigerian government. Extremist groups like Boko Haram are allowed to operate without any meaningful response from authorities. A courageous leader named Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted in a farce show trial for speaking out about what's happening. He's currently serving a life sentence in prison, convicted on false terrorism charges. I implore my colleagues to support my bill, HRES 1321, calling on the Nigerian government to conduct another trial in accordance with its own constitution, based on evidence, with access to legal counsel, medical care, and international law pertaining to humane conditions of detention, or, better yet, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu immediately and unconditionally. America gives billions to Nigeria. We will not continue to fund a Christian genocide. We have the moral obligation to stand up so our Christian brothers and sisters can worship the Lord our God in peace. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose, gentleman from Illinois seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Lieutenant Colonel Rosemarie Guerrero of the United States National Guard as she retires on an extraordinary career dedicated to serving our nation. Lieutenant Colonel Guerrero started her brilliant career in 1989 when she enlisted in the Illinois Air National Guard. In her current role as Cyberspace Warfare Branch Chief, she oversees a $205 million cyber mission force portfolio and provides direct guidance on mobilization, training, and resourcing and posturing for the Air National Guard cyber mission forces. At a time when Pentagon faces more than 10 million cyber intrusion attempts every single day, her work defending our country against cyber attacks has never been more important. Thank Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Guerrero, for your decades of leadership, sacrifice, and service. I wish you a happy and well-deserved retirement. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose? The gentleman from Ohio seek recognition.
Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to congratulate the great state of Ohio, my home state, for being named the #1 state for business. As someone who owned and operated manufacturing businesses in Ohio before coming to Congress, I know firsthand that our state's greatest asset is the hardworking, resilient, and dedicated people who power Ohio's economy, build our communities, and make Ohio thrive. Ohio's #1 ranking is a testament to their commitment, and it has propelled Ohio into national leadership in economic growth and opportunity that directly benefits our workers and our families. Ohio's success didn't happen by accident. It reflects policies that encourage investment, reward innovation, and reduce unnecessary barriers to growth. When government gets out of the way, Americans do what they do best. They build their families, they grow their businesses, they create jobs and strengthen our communities. Looking ahead, I know Ohio's business leaders, our chambers of commerce, and most importantly, Ohioans themselves will continue to thrive. With God, all things are possible. That's especially true in the great state of Ohio. Thank you.
The gentleman yields back. For what purpose? The gentlewoman from Pennsylvania seek recognition. Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Private First Class Isabella Gonzalez. First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan. Sergeant Angel Rampersad. Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton. 5 months since President Trump started this reckless war with Iran, 1 week since these young service members lost their lives. Isabella, 19, was graduated from Hebron High School in Texas last year. Her friends remember her as outgoing and how she pushed herself through boot camp and proved her bravery. Angel had a smile, her loved ones said, lit up every room she entered. She had plans to travel the world. Tyler, 25, leaves behind his family and a community at Southern Utah University. He was mere weeks away from finishing an MBA. Michael leaves behind his wife, Mia. In the last photo, Michael is holding his daughter in his arms before deployment. 18 American troops dead, more than 400 wounded, all in the name of an ill-conceived and ill-begotten war. Dropping more bombs on Iran is no way to remember these heroes. And if our president won't say their names,
Gentlewoman's
I
time
will.
has expired.
I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. For what purpose? Gentlewoman from Arizona seek recognition. Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor a remarkable Arizonan and celebrate the 100th birthday of Mr. Conrado Beto Villegas. Reaching a century of life is an extraordinary milestone, and I was honored to join Mr. Villegas' family, friends, and neighbors in Nogales to celebrate this special occasion, highlighted by him taking over the dance floor with his wife at his birthday party. Mr. Villegas is a proud World War II veteran whose courage and selfless service continue to inspire all of us. Like so many in his generation, he answered the nation's call in a time of great need, helping defend the freedoms we cherish today. His service and his life remind us of enduring values of sacrifice, resilience, and commitment to country and community. Beto, mil gracias for your service, your example, and your extraordinary legacy that you've built over the last 100 years. On behalf of the people of Arizona's 7th Congressional District, I extend my heartfelt thanks and wish you a very happy 100th birthday. Feliz cumpleaños y que Dios los bendiga. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. For what purpose? The gentlewoman from New Jersey seek recognition.
Revise and extend my remarks.
The gentlewoman is, without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor one of the newest inductees to the New Jersey Lacrosse Hall of Fame, Mr. Matt Trevenin. A graduate of Montclair High School, he is one of the most decorated attackmen at Montclair. He was a two-time first-team All-State selection, a two-time U.S. Lacrosse All-American, and a two-time New Jersey Attackman of the Year. In 1998, Mr. Trevenin was named the Star Ledger New Jersey State Player of the Year and was the first player in state history to record two 100-point seasons. He currently still holds or shares 6 individual Montclair records. As if that wasn't enough, he went on to Princeton, where he was a 3-year starter and a member of the 2001 NCAA championship team. In 1999, he was one of 5 New Jersey players selected to the USA Lacrosse U19 national team, which captured the World Championship in Adelaide, Australia.
Gentlewoman's time has expired.
Since retiring as a player, Mr. Trevenin has dedicated himself as a coach and a
Gentlewoman's
leader
time
in
has
Glenridge,
expired.
New Jersey. I rise to celebrate him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What purpose do gentlemen from Illinois seek recognition?
To address the House for 1 minute and revise my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to pay tribute to Mr. Eugene Williams, a dear friend and colleague who has passed away recently. Eugene is the brother of my district director, Ms. Sharita Logan, and their family has been involved with our activities for more than 40 years. And so I simply rise to say to the family of Eugene, we thank you for your engagement, your involvement, your participation, and may you rest in peace. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith, seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to House Resolution 1438, I call up the bill H.R. 8884, the Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act, and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 620, H.R. 8884. A bill to amend Title II of the Social Security Act to reauthorize demonstration authority for the Disability Insurance Program.
Pursuant to the House Resolution 1438, in lieu of an amendment in the nature of a substitute recommended by the Committee on Ways and Means, printed in the bill an amendment in the nature of a substitute consisting of the text of Rules Committee, print at 119-34, is adopted, and the bill, as amended, is considered read. The bill, as amended, shall be debated for 1 hour, equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Ways and Means, or their respective designee. The gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith, and the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Chu, each will control 30 minutes. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and submit extraneous material on this bill under consideration.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of H.R. 8884, the Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act, introduced by our colleague from Georgia, Representative Austin Scott. Many Americans that are living with disabilities want to enter the workforce and seek gainful employment. In fact, an estimated 60% of Americans who receive benefits under the Social Security Disability Insurance Program have stated a desire to return to work. And yet, less than 1% leave the disability insurance program each year for a job. That is a gigantic gap between the number of disabled Americans who want to work and the number who successfully return to work. The Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act seeks to shrink that gap by simply restoring the Social Security Administration's authority to test drive solutions that can empower more of our fellow Americans to get back to work. Up until 2022, the SSA had such authority to run demonstration projects on improving work outcomes. With that authority expired, and with so many disabled Americans still unable to successfully navigate the current program, we have to find a better way forward. In fact, some of the challenges cited for why so few DI beneficiaries successfully return to the workforce are confusing rules of the road for eligibility. That and a fear of overpayments and benefit cliffs. And just so we do not forget why we should be focused on this issue, at a hearing of the Ways and Means, Social Security, and Work and Welfare Subcommittees in September, we heard from a witness, a former beneficiary, about how the work he found helped give his life real purpose and a different outlook. He was talking about the dignity of work, and that's what this bill will help deliver. Representative Scott has been a long time, and I would say long time, tireless champion for Purple Heart veterans. Many of them wish to return to work, but cannot afford the severe restrictions placed on their work status. I commend Mr. Scott for expanding his bill to allow the SSA's demonstration authority for so many impacted individuals, including blind Americans. He has identified a common sense solution and is fighting to see it come to pass just as it did through the Ways and Means Committee with bipartisan support. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Missouri reserves. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, at a time when Americans are dealing with skyrocketing prices and vulnerable populations like seniors and people with disabilities are struggling to get help with their Social Security benefits because this administration has created a customer service crisis through reckless staffing cuts, it's shameful that Republicans have chosen to bring H.R. 8884 to the floor. This bill won't lower costs, won't improve customer service, and won't make it easier for people with disabilities to access the benefits they've earned. Instead, it opens the door to cutting those benefits while making SSA's customer service crisis even worse. H.R. 8884, the Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act, aims to remove barriers to employment faced by individuals receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, benefits. It tries to do this by authorizing the Social Security Administration to conduct demonstration projects designed to test program changes that may encourage work. Let me be clear that Democrats strongly support the goal of reducing unnecessary barriers for disabled Americans who want to explore returning to work. And over the years, Democrats many times have supported giving SSA this demonstration authority. However, the bill before us today tries to accomplish this worthwhile goal in the worst possible way. Instead of protecting beneficiaries, it hands the Trump administration broad new authority to experiment with Social Security disability benefits with virtually no meaningful guardrails. First, let me be clear about what Social Security disability benefits are for. SSDI supports some of the most vulnerable Americans who have severe and long-lasting medical impairments that prevent them from being able to work at a level needed to financially support themselves. SSDI is an earned benefit, with the average beneficiary having worked and paid into the system for 22 years before becoming disabled. It also has stringent eligibility criteria. To qualify, applicants must provide extensive medical evidence and undergo a rigorous eligibility determination process. Many applicants are initially denied and must appeal, a process that often takes a year or more. Even after all levels of appeal, SSA typically finds only about 1 in 3 applicants eligible. And SSDI benefits are extremely low, at an average of about $20,000 a year. Most SSDI beneficiaries could not survive without these monthly payments, and that's why we must ensure that any potential change to the program do not put those benefits at risk. Yet this bill explicitly leaves that possibility on the table. Rather than protecting earned disability benefits, it gives the administration broad discretion to test policies that could reduce them. This isn't some abstract policy debate. Here's what this could look like in the real world. Picture this. You've been on Social Security disability for the past 10 years after a devastating car accident rendered you unable to work and support yourself. Your monthly SSDI check isn't much, but it's the reason you can pay your bills and keep food on the table. Then one day, the Social Security Administration contacts you about an opportunity that sounds promising, a demonstration program that will make it easier for you to get a part-time job while remaining on SSDI. This sounds great to you because it could mean some extra income for you and your family. So you sign up and start working, only to realize that you're no better off financially because for every dollar you make at your new job, you lose $1 in SSDI benefits. After a few months, the demands of the new job start taking a toll on your health, and it becomes clear that it isn't sustainable. You contact SSA to revoke your participation in the demonstration so that you can start receiving your full SSDI benefit amount again. But SSA doesn't reinstate your benefits right away. 2 weeks later, and you still have to call SSA's 1-800 number every day trying to get your benefits back. Every time, you're on hold for more than an hour. But even when you do go and get through to a staff member, they say there's a backlog, and no one can tell you when you'll get your check. Rent is due in a few days. You don't have the money. You feel desperate. That's exactly the kind of outcome this bill fails to protect. Here's why. The problem is simple. This bill only guarantees that an individual's total income will not be reduced due to participation in a demonstration project. That deceptive phrasing does not guarantee that your Social Security disability benefits won't be cut or reduced because you're earning money at a part-time job. These are two very different things. The empty promise of no reduction in total income leaves the administration with enormous discretion over people's earned benefits. And this isn't a hypothetical concern. The Trump administration has repeatedly tried to cut disability benefits and make it harder for disabled Americans to qualify. They've shown us exactly what they want to do given the opportunity. During the first Trump administration, President Trump repeatedly tried to throw disabled people off their benefits by making it harder to qualify and subjecting them to more frequent continuing disability reviews. He proposed a budget plan that tried to slash disability benefits by $50 billion over 10 years. And a key part of that plan was to push beneficiaries into demonstration programs. No past demonstrations had indicated that savings of any level, let alone $50 billion, could be possible without punitive measures to cut beneficiaries who can't return to work. And just last year, the Trump administration was reportedly considering a plan to eliminate age as a factor in deciding whether someone is unable to work and eligible for SSDI, which could have blocked an estimated 750,000 people from receiving benefits. Thankfully, this plan was dropped after enormous public outcry, but that shouldn't be enough to convince us that this administration isn't still gunning to slash benefits. An administration that has a track record of trying to cut Americans' earned disability benefits should not be given any new authority to conduct open-ended experiments that could reduce benefits. And this couldn't come at a worse time, thanks to the administration cutting over 7,000 staff at Social Security. Our constituents are waiting for hours on the phone and facing extremely long backlogs when trying to get their issues resolved. SSDI beneficiaries rely on their benefits every month to make ends meet. They can't afford delays or roadblocks to getting the full amount of the benefits they've earned. To make matters worse, this bill would require any new demonstration programs to be funded by SSA's operating budget, the same budget that supports the agency's customer service. In other words, this bill asks SSA to take money away from serving the public to run experiments that could jeopardize people's disability benefits. When the Ways and Means Committee marked up this bill last month, Ranking Member John Larson offered a common sense amendment that would have addressed these concerns by requiring demonstration projects to be funded not by SSA's customer service budget, but by the SSDI trust funds, and by adding guardrails to what the Trump administration might do with the demonstration authority. Those guardrails included ensuring that no one would see their benefits, not just total income, but actual benefits reduced due to participation in a demonstration. The amendment would also have ensured that no demonstration could be used to deny eligibility for new SSDI applicants, and would have required the SSA to provide notice and public comments on the details of any planned demonstrations. These were basic protections to ensure that people with disabilities couldn't lose their earned benefits simply for participating in a demonstration project. Yet, every Republican voted this down. If Republicans truly cared about making life better for people on Social Security disability benefits, we would be discussing bills to increase monthly benefits, fix the appeals process so people with disabilities aren't waiting years to get approved for benefits, and fix customer service at SSA by undoing this administration's disastrous staffing cuts. Instead, Republicans have brought us a bill that gives the Trump administration new authority to experiment with Social Security disability benefits while failing to protect the very people it claims to help. People with disabilities deserve certainty, not experiments with the benefits they've earned. I urge my colleagues to vote no, and Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman from California reserves. The gentleman from Missouri is recognized.
Thank you. I yield as much time as he may consume to the gentleman from Georgia, the sponsor of this legislation, Mr. Scott.
The gentleman from Georgia is recognized for as much time as he may consume.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first thing I want to do is thank Chairman Smith and his staff for working with me to get a piece of legislation to the floor. I also want to thank my many bipartisan co-sponsors of the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act. And I want Americans to know how this piece of legislation originated. I was taking a young man, a Marine, hunting several years ago. And that Marine stepped on a pressure plate and lost both legs. And we're having a discussion as we're in the vehicle headed to the farm that we're going to hunt. And I asked him, you know, if there were things that, you know, we could help him with. And we had a candid conversation. He said, you know, I want to go back to work. And I work at the local auto parts store. And I'd like to work more hours. But if I make $1 more than at that time, it was $1,100 a month, I lose 100% of my Social Security benefits. So here we have a young man, combat wounded, loses both legs, wants to work, and let me tell you something, if you want to help a disabled veteran, let them get out of the house and go back to work. Let them. Let them. This doesn't force anybody to do anything. It is voluntary. It is voluntary. But the idea that if a combat wounded veteran wants to go back to work and they make $1 more than some imaginary number, that their family has less money at the end of the month than they had if they didn't work is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So we wrote the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act, and I have had broad bipartisan support for that bill, but not able to get it through and signed into law. So we went back and, under Chairman Smith's leadership and his team, looked at other ways to do this. And this authority was there up to and until 22, I believe. So President Biden had it, could have done it. Other presidents have had the ability to do it. And we're simply asking that we do the same thing, give the same authority that we've had in the past so that we can do pilot projects that doesn't force anybody to do anything, but it gives people who are currently receiving Social Security disability benefits the ability to go back to work if they voluntarily choose to and have a little more money at the end of the month instead of less. That's what it does. I don't understand the objection from the other side to allowing people to go back to work and not lose 100% of their government benefits. It is something that we as Republicans have pressed for across a wide range of benefits, is to get rid of the cliff. We're not trying to force anybody to do anything. We're simply giving people the ability to go back to work, not lose 100% of their Social Security benefits, and have more money left over at the end of the month. So after my conversation with that young man, that young Marine, that warrior, I honestly couldn't believe it. I came to D.C., I met with the lawyers, I'm like, this can't be right. This defies logic. And we went through the law, and the lawyers told me he was right. We wrote the bill, and I'm going to tell you, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that my Democratic colleagues are taking the position on the floor that they have with this. We want people to be able to go back to work. This originated, again, Marine steps on a pressure plate, loses both legs, wants to go back to work, but if they go back to work, they lose 100% of their Social Security benefits if they make $1 more than this imaginary threshold, which is not enough for them to live on. So I think this is a wonderful piece of legislation. Again, I want to go back. I want to thank the chairman and his staff for helping us find a way to solve this problem. I think the president will do a pilot project if you give him the authority that will be very close to the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act. And you know what? Purple Heart Day is coming up August 8th and 7th or 8th. I'm close. One of those 2 days. It would have been wonderful for us to get this across the finish line and be able to do it on that day for them. But I hope my colleagues in a very bipartisan manner will support H.R. 8884, help us remove the barriers to work for disabled Americans. The same things that will work for our wounded warriors will also work for other Americans if they choose, if they want, if they voluntarily want to go back to work and make a little extra money and not lose 100% of their Social Security benefits. So originated Purple Heart Freedom to Work. I think it'll work for a lot of Americans. We as Republicans believe work is good. We know there are a lot of people that are on Social Security disability that want to go back to work. It's voluntary. They will always have more money. They will not have any less money if this is done. So again, I hope my colleagues in a very bipartisan manner will support H.R. 8884. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back to the chairman of the committee, Mr. Smith.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Missouri reserves, and the gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Well, helping Purple Heart recipients find employment is wonderful and laudable, but there is nothing in H.R. 8884 that requires SSA to test the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act. It's not mentioned in the underlying bill at all. At a Ways and Means Committee markup, Ranking Member Larson asked the majority if SSA had shared information on what demonstration projects it had planned. They said no. Trust us. And in fact, when the bill was considered at the Rules Committee a few weeks ago, Ranking Member McGovern made a motion to add a new section to the rule that would have provided for immediate consideration of Representative Scott's Purple Heart bill on the House floor. Republicans all voted no on this motion, including Representative Scott himself. If Republicans want to do the Purple Heart bill, let's vote on that bill, not on H.R. 8884, which doesn't even mention Purple Heart recipients. And with that, I yield to the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Davis, such time as he may consume.
The gentleman from Illinois is recognized for as much time as he may consume.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank Representative Chu for her leadership on this issue. Mr. Speaker, I believe that you can measure the greatness of a society by how well it treats its old, how well it treats its young, and how well it treats those who have difficulty caring for themselves through no fault of their own, but yet need help from other elements of society. And if this bill is an indication of how we value our most vulnerable citizens, then we're not in good shape. Instead of going after billionaire tax cheats or ultra-wealthy tax evaders, my Republican colleagues are advancing a bill that purports to remove barriers to work for disabled Americans. But in all actuality, H.R. 8884 targets the earned benefits of workers who qualify for the Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI. Mr. Speaker, I strongly oppose H.R. 8884 and urge my colleagues to do the same rather than give the Trump administration unfettered authority to conduct a demonstration program that will ultimately result in a reduction of benefits for older, severely disabled, and low-income workers. The bill under consideration today fails to remove employment barriers for some of the most financially vulnerable Americans. Past Social Security Administration demonstration programs have shown that these reemployment initiatives to be unsuccessful in helping beneficiaries return to work. Additionally, let us be reminded that the first Trump administration repeatedly proposed massive cuts to Social Security disability benefits. His plans included stripping away benefits from older, severely disabled workers, making it harder to qualify for benefits, and throwing disabled people off benefits by subjecting them to more frequent continuing disability reviews, just to name a few. Alarmingly, President Trump's budgets proposed using SSA demonstration authorities to slash disability benefits by approximately $50 billion over 10 years. And let me say it again. The first Trump administration wanted Disability Demonstration Authority to slash $50 billion of earned benefits. And just last year, the Trump administration proposed a rule that would exact deep cuts to SSDI, particularly for older workers, workers who cannot support themselves due to severe and long-lasting disabilities that impact their ability to work. Now, with this bill, my Republican colleagues want to grant the Trump administration unchecked power and authority to conduct demonstration programs aimed at reducing SSDI benefits. And just to further imagine, the Trump created customer service crisis at SSA due to massive staffing reductions. This bill requires funding for these demonstrations to be supported out of SSA's operating funds. And so for these reasons, among others, H.R. 8884 is opposed by the AFL-CIO, Social Security Works, and the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. The Trump administration has repeatedly demonstrated its willingness to harm the elderly, the disabled, and the poor. And so I urge my colleagues to reject this harmful bill in exchange for a more thoughtful approach to improving employment outcomes for people with disabilities. I believe that we ought to want and should help, not harm, not hurt those individuals who deserve and need disability benefits. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentlewoman from California reserves. The gentleman from Missouri is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I have no additional speakers, and we're prepared to close.
The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Yes, I have no further speakers, and I yield myself the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the risk this bill poses to vulnerable Social Security disability benefits cannot be overstated. President Trump has tried time and time again to kick people with disabilities off their benefits, including by pushing people into demonstration programs. This bill would give this administration open-ended authority to do that. Congress has authorized this kind of SSDI demonstration authority in the past, but only after working with SSA to closely review its intended projects and their impacts. In contrast, the current SSA has not disclosed any information on how it plans to use the SSDI demonstration authority. And Ways and Means Republicans rejected a Democratic amendment that would have required a notice and public comment period for any demonstration before it gets enacted. The bottom line is that this administration cannot be trusted to not cut people's benefits. These are earned benefits that people with disabilities rely on to make ends meet. This bill puts that lifeline in jeopardy, and that is why this House should reject this bill. I urge my colleagues to vote no, and I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. The gentleman from Missouri is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself the remainder of my time.
The gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have heard some amazing arguments on the floor just now. But one thing that has been crystal clear by the arguments that we've heard in opposition to this bill that helps veterans is simply that the Democrat Party is focused on legislative items that allow them to control Americans. They want to control the benefits of Americans 100%, that they don't even want to give them the opportunity to have the dignity of work. They've said it on the floor today. I can't believe that they would possibly want to say, I know better for your livelihood than what you do. But that's what the speakers are saying, and that's why they're opposing this bill. That is a shame. And you know, you hear individuals say that it's a risk The only risk of this bill is simply that you can't control 100% the benefits of veterans who are disabled. That this bill allows them to give the opportunity to have the dignity of work and not lose their benefits, but to still be able to thrive. We are focused on the success of the individual, not the fact government can control your livelihood. And with that, I encourage this body to support this great piece of legislation that Mr. Scott has worked on for some time to deliver relief for real Americans, for veterans, and not to the Democrat Party who wants to control their benefits. That, I yield back.
All time for debate has expired. Pursuant to the House Resolution 1438, the previous question is ordered on the bill as amended. The question is on engrossment and third reading of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Third reading.
To amend Title II of the Social Security Act to reauthorize demonstration authority for the Disability Insurance Program.
The question is on the passage of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the bill is passed. For what purpose does the gentlewoman of California seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I call for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring the vote for the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having arisen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, further proceedings on this question will be postponed. Proceedings will resume on questions previously postponed. Votes will be taken in the following order: adoption of House Concurrent Resolution 89 and the passage of H.R. 8884. The first electronic vote will be conducted as a 15-minute vote, pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20. Remaining electronic votes will be conducted as 5-minute votes. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is to vote on the adoption of House Concurrent Resolution 89, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 89, concurrent resolution directing the President pursuant to Section 5C of the War Powers Resolution to remove United States Armed Forces from hostilities with Iran.
The question is on the adoption of the concurrent resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic means and device. This is a 15-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 214, the nays are 208. The concurrent resolution is adopted, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business in the House is a vote on the passage of H.R. 8884, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 620, H.R. 8884, a bill to amend Title II of the Social Security Act to reauthorize demonstration authority for the Disability Insurance Program.
Question is on the passage of the bill. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 232, the nays are 188. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The House will be in order. As to take their conversations off the floor. The chair will now entertain requests for 1-minute speeches. Purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks, and the House is not in order.
Gentleman is correct. The House is not in order. Members, please take your conversations off the floor. Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize National Intern Day, celebrated this year on July 30th. This day is dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the future leaders of the world, interns. This day serves as an opportunity for thousands of employers to commemorate and thank their hardworking interns. And I'd like to take this time to recognize and thank the interns who joined me this summer, both in my personal office and on the Agriculture Committee. Chloe, a Pennsylvanian descendant of dairy farmers, worked in my personal office and was instrumental in helping the people of Pennsylvania's 15th Congressional District. Jimmy, Caitlin, Harper, Raymond, and Madison supported the agriculture staff through dozens of hearings, roundtables, and other committee events as we work on behalf of farmers and ranchers across all 50 states. From leading tours, helping constituents, drafting speeches, and attending briefings, these interns were a fantastic addition to my offices this summer. Mr. Speaker, our interns are some of the best and brightest across our nation, and they should be proud of all that they've accomplished this summer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California, from Michigan? For what purpose does the gentleman from Michigan seek recognition?
I have unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise and explain my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate the upcoming opening of the Gori Ha Bridge. It's a bridge that I see every day from my home. I live on the riverfront, on beautiful riverfront in Detroit, Michigan. The bridge, located in the heart of Michigan's 13th Congressional District and built by thousands of Michigan workers, the bridge is a critical economic link between the United States and Canada. Canada is one of our greatest allies and the largest international buyer of Michigan products and goods. The Gordie Howe Bridge means more Michigan jobs, increased U.S.-Canada commerce, faster travel times, and lower toll costs. I am grateful to all the partners in Michigan, the United States, and Canada who are working hard to make this bridge a reality. I urge the Trump administration to facilitate the opening of this bridge without further delay. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Arkansas seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize Chief Heath Helton of the Little Rock Police Department for his 3 decades of public service to our capital city, and to congratulate him on his recent appointment as the Director of Arkansas's Division of Law Enforcement Standards and Training. As Chief, Helton implemented the city's comprehensive crime reduction strategy, lending to 4 consecutive years of falling crime. Violent crime has declined by 15% under his tenure. Chief Helton is an inspired choice to now help shape the law enforcement training standards for Arkansas. His proven leadership will serve Arkansas well as he trains that next generation of officers. I join all Central Arkansans in thanking Chief Helton for his service, and I wish him continued success as he works to make Arkansas a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Alan Slater, whose 35 years of leadership have strengthened the Orange County Superior Court and promoted justice. As Superior Court Executive Officer, Alan prioritized the well-being of those who are too often overlooked by our justice system. Under his direction, partnerships with community groups and leaders created a bona fide safety net of legal aid and social services, ensuring all residents were able to access due process. As a visionary in court technology, Alan pioneered statewide models that expanded access to restraining orders, improved officer safety, and advanced transparency through open access to court records. His service reflects a deep commitment to public accountability and to good service to all people. And today, I ask my colleagues to reflect on how local leaders like Alan Slater strengthen our institutions and protect the rights of those who are most in need. Thank you, Alan. Mr. Speaker, I yield.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from South Carolina seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, every day law enforcement officers across this country put on the badge, putting their lives on the line. Anderson County Sheriff's Deputy Alex Albrecht experienced that reality firsthand. During what began as a routine traffic stop with another officer, Deputy Albrecht responded to his call for backup and was shot in the line of duty while serving his community. By the grace of God, he survived, has recovered from his injuries, and continues to embody the courage and resilience that define America's law enforcement officers. Deputy Albrecht's story reminds us that there is no such thing as a routine day in law enforcement. Every traffic stop, every call for service, and every shift carries risk. Yet our deputies and police officers answered that call regardless, putting others before themselves. For the people across South Carolina, men and women like Deputy Albrecht represent the very best of public service. May God continue to bless Deputy Albrecht, his family, and every law enforcement officer who faithfully serves our communities. And I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Debbie Espinosa, President and CEO of Fine Food Bank, and her 8 years of extraordinary leadership. Debbie and I have stood together through disaster response, through the darkest days of the pandemic, and in the fight to protect the federal nutrition programs that many children and farm worker families depend on. When I served as chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, I invited Debbie to Washington to brief my colleagues on the unique food security challenges facing farm workers in our valley because their story deserved to be heard on the national stage. She has also been a trusted partner to my office, helping provide food assistance to federal employees and families during shutdowns and supporting community conversations on food insecurity. Debbie never just simply distributed food. She built bridges, connecting federal resources to local solutions and ensuring no family in our district went without in moments of emergency or everyday hardship. As she moves on to lead harvesters, serving 27 counties across Missouri and Kansas, our valley's loss becomes a nation's gain. Debbie, thank you for your partnership, your compassion, and your unwavering commitment to the people in the Coachella Valley region and for our friendship. We are forever grateful. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize Mr. Cary Grant for his remarkable testimony of faith and unwavering determination. This past Sunday, Cary preached his first sermon in American Sign Language at Deaf Michiana Mission Church in South Bend, Indiana, nearly 8 years after losing his ability to speak because of a neurological disease. After delivering his final verbal sermon on July 22, 2018, many thought this was his opportunity to preach had come to an end. Instead, through faith, perseverance, and learning American Sign Language, Cary found a new way to continue sharing the gospel. A regular attendee of Grace Bible Church, where his son Kyle Grant pastors, Cary has inspired his community through his resilience and steadfast trust in the Lord. His journey reminds us that challenges can become opportunities to glorify God and serve others. Cary, congratulations on this incredible milestone. You've been such an inspiration as you return to preaching God's holy word. I wish you God's continued blessings as you continue sharing his message. I'll yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Oregon seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, 57 years ago this week, the world watched as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin first stepped foot on the moon. That historic achievement was thanks to American innovation and engineering breakthroughs, and it showed what is possible when we dream beyond the stars. Now, 57 years later, we're preparing for our return to the moon. Through NASA's Artemis program, the U.S. will once again set foot on the moon, opening the door for the next era of space exploration. But missions like Artemis would not be possible without the skilled technical workers, scientists, and innovators whose talent turns bold ideas into reality. If America is to remain the world's scientific leader, we must continue investing in the programs and inspiring the next generation of students who make these missions possible. That's why I urge my colleagues to pass my resolution that would recognize July 20th, the day astronauts first landed on the moon, as Moon Day. I'll keep working to support policies that get us one small step closer to the next giant leap for mankind. Thank you, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute, advising some of my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of Montgomery County Deputy Erica Serrato, who was killed in the line of duty this year on June 28th. With 6 years of service protecting our community, she began her career at just 18 years old as a detention officer and ascended the ranks to deputy sheriff earlier this year. Erica lived a life of service and embodied the values of courage, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to protecting others. On behalf of the Texas 8th Congressional District, I'm grateful for all that Erica did to protect the citizens of Montgomery County. And as our community grapples with the immeasurable loss, my prayers are with the family, friends, and the entire Montgomery County Sheriff's Office during this difficult time. May she rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Arizona seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of Carl Kanasik, a devoted Arizonan who passed away this week at the age of 94. Carl, an Air Force veteran, came to Arizona in 1959. He opened a pharmacy in Mesa, and when his families couldn't afford medicine for a sick child, he let them sign the book and he would have them pay him later. To the people who lived there, he was a hero. That same spirit carried him into public service. He served in the Arizona House, the Senate, and on the Corporation Commission. He helped design Access, our state's Medicaid program, finding a made-in-Arizona solution to make sure lower-income families could get the care they needed. As Senate President, he presided over the difficult impeachment trial of a governor of his own party. He did not want that duty, but he believed the Constitution left him no choice, and he did it with fairness. It cost him his seat, but he did it anyway. Carl Kanasik did not see party first. He saw people. We would do well to remember his example. My thoughts are with his wife, Karen, and his children, both of whom followed him into public service actions. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Iowa seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to your combat service, my combat service, but most importantly, the combat service of those currently on the front line. As a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Air Force and a colonel, I respect America's strength and that it starts at home. The National Defense Authorization Act of 2027 has been delivered in a bipartisan way, and I'm proud to share that yesterday the NDAA passed with 8 of my amendments, one of the most of any member of Congress, and in a bipartisan fashion, including enhancing our Air National Guard capabilities, countering Chinese aggression, rebuilding our defense arsenal, supporting our service members' health and pay, and support increases for our veterans and our members. However, I'm most proud of my Amendment 930, which directs the Air Force to identify bases that already have runways and technical expertise to support the next generation of aircraft, but currently lack a permanent flying mission. The 132nd Fighter Wing in Des Moines is a perfect example. The 132nd has a proud history as the premier flying unit in our nation's history for F-16s, both training and operational. Together, the F-16 and the 132nd have built a world-class drone, cyber, and intelligence operation mission while still having access to a fully operational runway. This gives the 132nd a rare winning combination of top-tier expertise, a secure facility, and an active runway. I want to thank all my friends at the Iowa Air National Guard, and I yield the remainder of my time.
For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to celebrate the remarkable life of the Aretha Branch of LaGrange, LA, North Carolina, who recently celebrated her 100th birthday. She's lived a life defined by faith, service, and a steadfast commitment to her community. As a social worker, educator, business owner, and civic leader, she broke barriers, including becoming the first African-American member of the Board of Trustees at UNC Health Lenoir. Through decades of volunteer service and leadership, she strengthened lives and opened doors for others. I wish Aretha Branch a joyful 100th birthday and thank her for a century of faith, love, and service that continues to inspire Eastern North Carolina and our nation. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Mississippi seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the outstanding men and women of the United States Coast Guard Port Security Unit 308, proudly headquartered in Pascagoula, Mississippi, for receiving the Rear Admiral Bennett Bud Sparks Award, one of the highest honors bestowed upon the Coast Guard Reserve Unit. This prestigious award recognizes excellence in operational readiness, reserve integration, and mission performance, and PSU 308 has more than earned this distinction. Over the past year, these citizen service members supported critical missions across the Indo-Pacific, became the first Coast Guard Reserve Unit to execute back-to-back embarked security deployments aboard military Sealift command vessels, and deployed within 48 hours to help secure our nation's southern maritime border during Operation River Wall. We also conducted hundreds of patrols while maintaining an excellent reserve readiness rate of nearly 97%. These achievements reflect the professionalism, discipline, and unwavering commitment of the men and women who balance civilian careers and with answering our nation's call whenever duty requires. As chairman of the Coast Guard Maritime Transportation Subcommittee, I know firsthand the vital role our Coast Guard plays in protecting America's maritime interest. The members of PSU 308 embody the Coast Guard motto, Semper Paratus, always ready. To the service members of Port Security Unit 308 and their families, thank you for your sacrifice, your dedication, and your faithful service to our nation. Mississippi is proud of you, and so is the United States of America. And Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
I rise today to honor the life of my constituent, Jack Permy. I first met Jack several years ago in Westchester, where he was volunteering to help bring clean water to people in need, and that generosity would come to define his life. Jack began experiencing symptoms of spinocerebellar ataxia as a child. This progressive neurodegenerative disease impaired his coordination, his balance, and his speech, and his ability to swallow, and it ultimately took his life at just 28 years old. As the ataxia progressed, Jack had to give up driving and the many hobbies that he loved, including blacksmithing and woodworking and 3D modeling. But when Jack discovered that he could ride a recumbent bike, he regained a sense of freedom and independence and immediately set out to share it. In 2024, Jack founded Moving Forward for Ataxia, and he rode thousands of miles, raised more than $55,000, and provided 17 recumbent bikes to people across the country. My heart is with Jack's parents, Monica and David, his stepmother, Leslie, his siblings, Grant and Ricky, and everyone who loved him and was touched by his bravery and his generosity. Jack's message to all of us was very simple. Build connections, be kind, and whatever you do, and whatever you face, keep moving forward. And that's exactly what his legacy will help others to do. Thank you, and I yield.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from the Northern Mariana Islands seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the Association of Pacific Ports and its more than a century of advancing maritime commerce, cooperation, and security across the Pacific. For Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, our ports are lifelines. They connect our islands to the world and ensure our communities receive the food, fuel, medicine, and supplies we depend on every day. Before coming to Congress, I had the privilege of serving as the chairperson of the Commonwealth Ports Authority and later as the president of the Association of Pacific Ports. I saw firsthand how collaboration among Pacific ports strengthen our economies, improves resilience, and supports our shared future. As our nation increases its focus on the Indo-Pacific, Pacific ports play an increasingly vital role in both economic prosperity and national security. This August, the association will hold its 112th conference in Guam under the theme, Inafamaulik, Strengthening Our Shared Pacific, reflecting the enduring value of partnership and mutual respect. Mr. Speaker, I ask my colleagues to join me in recognizing the Association of Pacific Ports for its outstanding service and to congratulate its members and this important milestone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Michigan seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Free Jakob Era Vahandre now. ICE arrested and detained him for exercising his First Amendment rights. They targeted him for speaking out against genocide and standing up for political prisoners. Jakob is a photojournalist who has lived in the United States for 25 years as a dreamer, as a DACA recipient. He is a first responder and spent a decade working for American Airlines, serving on their care team that supported families following plane crashes. When the helicopter crashed into a plane in D.C., right here, Jakob was there to support grieving families. When Texas experienced the deadliest flood in recent history, Jakob volunteered to bring emergency aid to victims. Now it's our turn to be there for Jakob. They are trying to deport him over liking social media posts. Why? Because he wants to save lives no matter faith or ethnicity. This should frighten all of us. The Trump administration is terrorizing immigrants who disagree with them and targeting political dissent in our country. We must speak out. We must free Jakob now. I yield.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I want to salute the 50th anniversary celebration of an institution in my home community of Rye, Kelly's Sea Level. It's a big shindig is planned for the month of August, a little later on, at this iconic restaurant and bar that has welcomed locals and visitors since 1976. Mary and Martha and their kids are beloved in the community, and they are at Kelly's most every night with their neighbors and friends, watching TV sports, the Yankees, Giants, Rangers, Knicks, even the Mets. And they also are outdoor in the fall to watch the Rye Garnets high school football games. Visiting Kelly's is to be at home for the long-term locals from Rye, Harrison, Port Chester, Greenwich, the financiers, the college kids home for the holidays, hardworking firefighters, and the occasional congressman. They all come to Kelly's each week. We know that the menu, the bartenders, the waitstaff, and all those little things that the locals know, like the two-seat table in the back known as the Oak Room. It is Jerry and Martha that give Kelly's its heart and soul, and we all are amazed that we've reached 50 years. From the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives, we salute the McGuire family and Kelly's Sea Level on its 50th year of serving the thirsty and hungry people of Rye and the surrounding communities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Ohio seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This coming Monday morning, July 27th, in the heart of the largest freshwater endowment on Earth, the Great Lakes, the iconic $6 billion Gordie Howe Bridge between Windsor, Ontario, and Detroit, Michigan, will officially open. This magnificent suspension bridge, built totally with Canadian financing coupled with the might of American union muscle, will usher in a new horizon for our international and connected economies and freshwater kingdom. This achievement will lift up our industrial and agricultural nations to new possibilities. As with President Dwight D. Eisenhower's visionary construction of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway following World War II that connected our distant heartland region to the Atlantic Ocean through Canada, this singularly masterful achievement will propel economic growth in long-neglected corridors as multi-transport by rail, air, sea, and land are reimagined and joined. I implore the President president of our country and his coastal advisors to see the Great Lakes nation as a long-ignored bastion. Don't put more tariffs on us. Help us build our economy forward
gentlewoman's time
in
has
the
expired.
most sustainable region on planet Earth. Thank you, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of SEIU FPSU President Alfonso Mayfield, a beloved labor leader and tireless champion for working people across the state of Florida and across the South. Alfonso was a young black labor leader from the South that understood that the struggles of working-class families and dedicated his life to advancing economic and social justice. For more than 25 years with the SEIU, including serving as president since 2010, he fought tirelessly for union members, securing important victories and inspiring countless workers to stand together in solidarity. He understood that the true power of our communities rests in the hands of working people united with a common purpose. Alfonso led with love, and an unwavering commitment rests in the hands of working people. As we mourn his loss, we must also honor his legacy by continuing the work that he dedicated his life to. My deep condolences to his family and all those that were touched by his leadership. May his memory continue to be a blessing, and may his vision continue to guide us forward. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Rhode Island seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, the data is in, and Trump and Republicans' big ugly law has been disastrous for Americans. We can now confirm that they have succeeded in ripping food assistance away from 4.5 million SNAP recipients, including 1.5 million children. In Rhode Island alone, that's over 16,000 people who are now heading to the grocery store with less to spend as costs rise because of Trump's tariffs and illegal wars. Across my district, I've spoken with food pantry leaders seeing rising demand. I've heard from Rhode Islanders struggling to feed a family on $90 a month in SNAP benefits. And in the wealthiest country in the world, no one should have to worry about putting food on the table. We can do better than Trump's foreign wars and putting billionaires over the welfare of working people. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Massachusetts seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today on behalf of my family, my husband Conan, our daughter Cora, and the City of Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to honor the life of Pastor Byron Christopher Sumner, a beloved son of Roxbury. Chris deserved to grow old, but he transitioned on July 5th due to complications from ALS. He excelled from a young age at athletics, particularly basketball, which brought him to Canada, where he earned scholarships and eventually played semi-pro. But his commitment, talent, agility, and strength went beyond the court. He returned to Boston, where he devoted his career to serving his community as executive director of the I Have a Dream program, Blue Hill Boys and Girls Club, Boston 10-Point Coalition, and St. Stephen's Youth programs. His final role was an appointment from Governor Healy as executive director of the Melnia Cass Recreation Center, what he often called his dream job. But Chris's true passion was his family and his faith. I've said so often, I would rather see a sermon than hear one any day. And Chris was a sermon, the best kind. He married his wife Katani in 1985, and they raised 3 beautiful children, Candace, Courtney, and Christian. He also faithfully served as executive director, executive pastor of Jubilee Christian Church, supporting our community with spiritual covering, stewardship, and most of all, joy. As we grieve his loss, may we move forward in service of our children, young adults, families, and elders, or as Chris would say, our city's treasured assets. May he rest peacefully in eternal rest. I yield.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Mexico seek recognition?
Consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, happy Disability Pride Month. Originating in the passage of the Americans with Disability Act, this month and every month, we celebrate the strength, resilience, and leadership of New Mexicans living with disabilities in our state and across the country. They have fought for accessible schools, reliable transportation, inclusive workplaces, and the freedom to live with dignity, self-determination, and joy. We thank our leaders, advocates, and communities for your work. And to every New Mexican living with a disability, your voice, your advocacy, and your leadership matters. You belong in every classroom, every workplace, every community, and at every seat at every table. And we will continue to fight and celebrate alongside you, not just this month, but every month, to build a New Mexico and a world where every person can live with dignity, independence, and pride. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1
Thank you,
minute.
Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor the life and the legacy of Bishop McKinley B. Johnson, who passed away last week after 7 decades of service to the Albany community as a faith leader and a powerful moral conscience. As his family said last week, Bishop Johnson always believed that, and I quote, "The work of the gospel and the work of justice were never separate errands," close quote. And through every step of his long and transformative career, Bishop Johnson personified these powerful ideals of justice and faith. From the pulpit of the Greater St. John's Church of God in Christ in Albany's South End, Bishop Johnson never hesitated to speak truth to power. Time after time, he and his wife Sue advocated fiercely for their beloved community and stood at the forefront of decades of struggles for civil rights and equality. So while I join Bishop Johnson's many loved ones in mourning this tremendous loss for our community, I also know that his legacy will live on forever in the battles he fought, the changes he spurred, and the people he inspired. May his memory continue to be a blessing. I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Oregon seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
I rise today to share that Oregon State University has received one of 12 National Science Foundation's regional innovation engines. This investment in Oregon's semiconductor industry will strengthen educational partnerships across the state, meaningfully influence regional economic development, improve pathways to semiconductor careers, and create thousands of new, high-paying, high-tech jobs outside the Portland metro area. Oregon could receive up to $160 million to grow the state's semiconductor industry that already employs 30,000 Oregonians. Oregon's FAST Coalition brings together state partners across educational government, the technology industry, nonprofits, small businesses, and investors. It will also bring our innovation corridor closer together across 12 counties and foster innovation. Demand for semiconductors is rising, and the NSF FAST engine will help Oregon State University design the world's most advanced semiconductor chips and reaffirm our position as leaders in that space. Go Beeps! Thank you, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize the life and service of Sue Rainey, a remarkable public servant in the San Francisco Bay Area. Sue served as the mayor of Moraga, California in the late 1970s, and later as the mayor of Walnut Creek, California from 2001 to 2010, where she worked diligently to develop that city into the business, retail, arts hub that it is today. She also volunteered with the cancer support community in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 20 years, ultimately serving as the board chair of the San Francisco Bay Area chapter. Thanks to her leadership in the cancer community, the chapter now supports over 100 families each year. Sadly, Sue passed away last month at the age of 86, a remarkable life of 86 years. She will be fondly remembered for her commitment to our community, for bettering the lives of thousands of people. Please join me in honoring the life and service of my friend, Sue Rainey. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from California seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to once again demand that ICE immediately provide my constituent, Carlitos Ricardo Parias, urgently needed medical care. Carlitos is a father, a husband, a volunteer in our community who was even recognized by City Council for his service. Last October, ICE shot Carlitos near his elbow. He received initial care at a hospital, but since being transferred to the Adelanto ICE facility in December, ICE has denied him proper care for the injury they caused. I visited Carlitos in late May. His hand was purple, his fingers were atrophied, he is experiencing headaches and nerve pain. I am worried that he may have a bone infection and that his arm could be amputated. Carlitos urgently needs medical attention, and many more at Adelanto do too. Last week, a federal judge ordered sweeping changes to improve Adelanto's conditions for detainees. It is time for ICE to comply with this judge's orders and end this cruelty at Adelanto and nationwide.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
With that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New York seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate the legacy of Detective Luis Alvarez and the advancement of a bill to rename his hometown post office in Oceanside in his honor. Detective Alvarez was a true American hero and bravely answered the call on 9/11 after the worst terror attack on American soil. He spent months searching for survivors among the toxic rubble at Ground Zero, and as a result of his exposure, received a cancer diagnosis in 2016. He continued his legacy of service and became a leading advocate for 9/11 first responders, famously appearing before Congress in 2019 to fight for the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund. Detective Alvarez represents the best of us, and we must ensure that his heroism and sacrifice are never forgotten. I'm proud to say that my bill to rename the Oceanside Post Office is supported by the Alvarez family and the entire New York House delegation. Now I'm urging the Speaker to act quickly and bring the legislation to the floor to honor Detective Alvarez ahead of the 9/11 25th anniversary. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Maryland seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, as families across Maryland's 6th congressional district prepare for a new school year, they're facing yet another hit to their wallets. Parents will be spending an average of $485 extra per child on back-to-school costs, nearly 12% more than last year. I'm a mom of 4 daughters, and I've lived through various stages of raising a family, buying backpacks, new sports shoes, equipment, and back-to-school supplies, even getting them off to college. Today, my youngest will be at college, and I know that these costs continue after high school, including how many families are struggling with affordability of college and career and technical training. Families shouldn't have to struggle to choose between paying for childcare and school supplies. That's why I launched a cost-down agenda to focus on new ways to address accessible daycare, fortify the child income tax credit, further food co-ops, prohibit algorithmic pricing of consumer goods and groceries, and end nonsensical tariffs which drive up costs. In Maryland, we leave no one behind, and we shouldn't in Congress either. Team Maryland is working at federal, state, and local levels to mitigate costs and address these costs, and we need to do it in Congress as well. We need partnership
The gentlewoman's
to support
time has
working
expired.
families. With that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Virginia seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate Amy Reardon on her selection as the 2027 Region 3 Teacher of the Year. This prestigious award honors teachers who represent the very best in education across the Commonwealth of Virginia and recognizes the extraordinary impact they have on their students, schools, and communities. An English language teacher at Chancellor Elementary School in Spotsylvania County, Amy has dedicated 2 decades to serving students in Spotsylvania County schools. This includes 13 years as a first-grade teacher at Battlefield Elementary School. Throughout her career, she has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to academic excellence, fostering inclusive classrooms where every student is encouraged to succeed. Her passion for supporting multilingual learners has helped countless students build confidence, develop their skills, and reach their full potential. I congratulate Amy Reardon on this well-deserved recognition and thank her for the lasting difference she continues to make in the lives of Virginia's students. I yield back.
The Chair announces the Speaker's appointment pursuant to Section 4A of House Resolution 5, 119th Congress, and the order of the House of January 3, 2025, of the following member to the Select Committee on the Strategic Competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party.
Mr. Suozzi of New York.
The Chair lays before the House a communication from the Speaker.
The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., July 23, 2026. I hereby designate the period from Thursday, July 23, 2026, through Sunday, August 30, 2026, as a district work period under Clause 13 of Rule 1. Signed sincerely, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 3, 2025, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, is recognized for 60 minutes as the designee of the Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and still I rise, and I rise today as I always do, censured but not silenced. Censured but not silenced. A very proud, unbought, unbossed, liberated, unelected Democrat. And I rise today to bring 2 things to the attention of the House and to the people of the United States of America. The first is a brief update on ICE, and the second is an explanation related to crypto-crony capitalism. Crypto-crony capitalism. Let us begin. With reference to ICE, friends, we had a briefing just yesterday, and at that briefing, some things were discovered, other things were uncovered. We found, of course, what we knew, and that is that there was not a body camera on the ICE officers who took the life of Mr. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. The officers did not have body cameras on, and there was not a dash camera in the vehicle. The video that we have seen was taken by some public device, and that video, of course, has given us reason to understand that Mr. Salgado Araujo was not committing what I perceive as an infraction related to the law. He was not. The evidence that we heard yesterday gave us good reason to believe that there will be body cameras, and these body cameras will be in place on all officers who are performing this type of activity where they are taking people into custody or desire to take people into custody for various reasons associated with immigration, that these officers will all have body cameras. And I brought up the question of dash cameras, and they indicated to me that that would be given consideration. So I'm very proud that the persons that were available indicated that they would not only give us the body cameras in 60 days, but they would also consider dash cameras in the vehicle itself. I think these things will help not only the public, but also the officers, because the officers can immediately have the evidence to exonerate themselves when there is some question as to whether or not the officers have committed an infraction of the law. So I'm very proud to know that these things will happen. But there will be a follow-up to make sure that they do happen. I'm also proud to tell you that on tomorrow, there will be in Houston, Texas, a forum wherein we will have an opportunity to have a discussion about these issues associated with Mr. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo's death. We'll have an opportunity to ask questions of people who can give us more information. These things are important. But finally, on this question of ICE, I would only make this point, that we will get the body cameras. I believe we will get the dash cameras in time. But here's what I know. I know that we will have them because lives were lost. And I regret that it has taken the loss of lives, to have us do what ICE should have been asking us to do. We should not have been asking that these things be done. One would think that the officers would say, these body cameras are going to benefit us. Would you please, Congress, give us body cameras? Not the case. And because it was not the case, and because Mr. Preddy lost his life, and Ms. Good lost her life, and Mr. Salgado Araujo lost his life, and we had a person in Maine to lose his life. These 4 persons, all of these things occurring within this year, these things, these issues, these persons losing their lives will now give us the opportunity to have body cameras. It is a disgrace, a shame, and a sin to have to conclude that lives have to be lost for us to do the right thing. I want the world to know that I will never, ever stop the challenge that's before us to make sure that ICE is an institution, as it were, an organization, if you will, that will treat people fairly and justly. Not all of the ICE officers are engaged in illegal activities, and some of the activities are illegal when you engage in extrajudicial killings. But not all of the officers are doing this. So I'm not painting everybody with the same brush. But I am saying enough of them are doing it for us to demand some additional reforms with ICE. And of course, we're still demanding that they have uniforms that are indicative of the work that they do, that their names be displayed on those uniforms, that they not enter property without a proper warrant, the things that we would just take for granted that the Constitution would afford us and would be recognized by officers of the law. So I promise you, I'm going to stay in this fight, and we're going to get positive results. Now, moving on to the crony crypto capitalism. For those who do not know, the president has a meme coin, and the president's meme coin has done quite well. The president's meme coin, the $ Trump meme coin, that meme coin has made $1.74 million per day over a 1-year period of time. $1.74 million per day over a 1-year period of time. Over that same 1-year period of time, nearly 1 million people lost $3.8 billion. Let me repeat that. Over that same period of time, nearly 1 million people lost $3.8 billion. How did this happen? It happened because the meme coin that the president has is a part of a Ponzi scheme. And a Ponzi scheme is a means by which a person can convince people that they should buy something that does not have any worth except for the purchase of that thing itself, which is nothing in this case. You purchase nothing with the belief that someone is willing to pay more for nothing than you've paid for nothing. And as a result, the value is increased for you if you paid nothing at a lower price than someone else is going to pay for this same thing called nothing. So the president has sold nothing to nearly 1 million people who lost $3.8 billion. $3.8 billion. President made $1.74 million per day on the deal. Pumped it up, took his $1.74 million per day, left nearly 1 million people to lose $3.8 billion. That, my friends, is the president's Ponzi scheme. One would ask, how can this be? It exists because we have a president who lives without the law by causing certain persons to believe that things should be legal that clearly have not been and should not be. Ponzi schemes have been illegal in this country. The president has managed to get his persons who are in charge to indicate that this is not illegal. This Ponzi scheme is not. Others still are. And I'm mentioning this to you because this scheme, this whole scam, is having an impact on capitalism. An impact on capitalism. There are people who are now starting to see this as a part of capitalism, the Ponzi scheme, a means of making money in what is called a free market. They believe that the free market is designed in certain places to benefit very wealthy people. They have breaks and benefits from capitalism by having laws passed to benefit them and by engaging in things such as this Ponzi scheme that benefit them. So in a sense, this is harming the concept of capitalism. And one should be able to understand why some people are looking at other options. If this is the way we're going to manage capitalism by having your cronies do quite well while millions of others are taken advantage of, this is one example of why people would say, maybe this is not working well enough and we'll try something else. Well, my hope is this. My hope is that we can correct these things, especially this thing associated with the president and his Ponzi scheme. My hope is that we can correct these things and let people see that truly we can have an economic order that treats people with the kind of justice that they deserve. This is an unjust system, the Ponzi scheme, and we have to bring justice to it. And probably the best way to bring justice to it is going to be to see this president walk away and then thereafter do some serious investigations, serious hearings, and get to the bottom of things not only associated with the Ponzi scheme, but other things as well. I regret that some people are not going to get their money back. My hope is that there would be some way to reverse it, but my belief is that a good many people are just going to suffer and will not get their money back. But I also know this, that as I'm speaking now, and I'm telling people this is the case, the Ponzi scheme continues. The Ponzi scheme continues. People are going to buy into nothing and expect to get something. So you've been noticed. Please understand that the president's just taking advantage of you. He is. And not only is he doing it in this area, there are many others. I'm just talking about this today. I'll talk about others at a later time. But he's taking advantage of you. And you can stop it by not buying into this Ponzi scheme. Capitalism is taking a hit, and it's because of many reasons, but the chief reason, I think, being the president who is doing things to aid and abet his friends, allowing people to make contributions and then have certain benefits. A president who clearly has lived beneath the law and above the law. Beneath it in the sense that he doesn't believe that it exists, so he pushes it aside, and above it in the sense that he doesn't get charged for his criminality the same way other people would be charged if they were doing similar things. My belief is that we have time to cure some of the harm, but time is not on our side because every day the president continues to find new ways to take advantage of the economic order that has been in place in this country since its inception for the most part. So I would only say to you this: one of the remedies that we have available to us is one that I will pursue. I said we needed to wait until we could get control of the House and the Senate, and the presidency, yes. But people want to know, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? And I have said, and I continue to say, that we are in a countdown to impeachment. My desire will be to do this. When next we are in session, for all to know, articles of impeachment will be filed. The countdown will continue, but it will become that which will be brought to the floor of the House of Representatives when next we are in session. When next the House of Representatives is in session, I will take the articles over to the clerk. They will be filed. And at some time thereafter, a reasonable amount of time thereafter, to give members a chance to see exactly what I filed, although I plan to publish the articles before they are filed so that people will know what we're going to file. File these articles of impeachment. That'll give them plenty of time to prepare the defense of, well, it's too soon. The Senate won't take up the articles seriously. The Senate won't. You don't have enough senators there to convict. Let's see, what else will people say? Always, whatever it is not impeachable until maybe they decide that they want to file articles, and then it becomes an impeachable offense. But let's be reminded of what President Ford said. An impeachable offense, meaning impeachment, is whatever a given Congress says at a given time. Whatever a given Congress says at a given time. It is not appealable. It is not something that will require you to report how you came to your conclusions. Really, it's a matter of conscience for me, and I hope for others as well. So we will file the articles of impeachment. We will notice them prior to them being filed. People can start preparing now your arguments for why you can't support the articles of impeachment. But here's what I do know. Posterity is not going to look favorably upon us for allowing a president to commit impeachable offenses and do nothing. Of course, someone would say, but we will do something when we're in the majority. Now, that's another interesting question as I close. I've been out on the campaign trail, and I hear the people talking about all of these things that they're going to do when they get to Congress. Well, I've seen at least one example of the person getting to Congress and concluding, I'll be doing something next year when we have the majority. Run on doing something great now, but get here and realize that you don't have the power to do what you thought, so you'll do it next year. Well, I'm going to do things now. I'm not going to wait until next year. I'm a right now kind of guy, and as a right now kind of person, I will bring the articles of impeachment. This is what the Constitution requires. It is what I will do because, again, I am an unbought, unbossed, unafraid, unelected, liberated Democrat. I yield back.
Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities toward the president. Pursuant to Clause 13 of Rule 1, the House stands adjourned until 9:30 a.m. on Monday, July 27th, 2026.